Welcome to the Metal Voice. Today on the show, one of the biggest events of the year so far. Axl Rose will be singing with ACDC in Lisbon, Portugal. And with me for pre-game analysis, Vitek from the editor-in-chief of Metal Wani, MetalWani.com, a heavy metal magazine, up and coming, huge, I tell you. Also later on we have Giles, Lavery, lead vocalist of Dragon's Claw, who will be giving us the post-game analysis, commentary of how the show went. But first, Vitek, what's going on, brother?
Nothing much, just stoked to see what's going to happen tonight in Portugal. It's a big day and everybody will be focused on ACDC, Axl Rose. So fans are pumped up, I'm sure. Now all you got to see is how it's going to shape up, how those 3 R's on stage, fans either going to love it or hate it. All we can do is just wait for it.
Some questions for you. You ready?
Yep.
All right. What are your thoughts about Axl joining ACDC?
Either going to work really well or it may not. And so far, what we have seen, what we have heard, it seems like a 50-50 kind of a vibe where some people are excited, whereas some people are not. Now, it all depends on his execution on stage tonight in Portugal. If it's going to be very, very tough, and he knows he has a lot of fans looking at him, media looking at him, and this would be really interesting to see how this is going to shape up. But Axl right now is fit, is good, he's matured, he looks more, more receptive. So I'm really looking forward to see what's going to happen tonight.
There's some great points there, and I think it comes down to, in Guns N' Roses, he's the boss. And
That's right.
As the boss, he's been sitting on his ass for 10 years because he's the boss. And some people, it works well being a boss, and others it doesn't. I think he's better off as an employee because he's alert, he looks more down to earth, he's more humble when he's talking to people, and he feels like, now I've got to rehearse because these guys are going to fire me if I don't.
Right.
What are your thoughts on how they treated Brian Johnson?
I feel, with due respect to Brian, it could have been handled in a much better way. And I'm sure the first point which I would like to put here is what was told to the fans or to the media was I felt it wasn't justified, because if they had the plan of let's say putting Brian on hold until he recovers, they could have put it that way. But they made it sound like Brian is done. He's fired from the band. So that's what it felt to me, that this wasn't handled. I mean, with due respect, these guys have been doing it for decades, man. Let's face it now. It should have been handled in a way where all the members of the band with equal respect would have addressed to the media. Maybe a press conference could have been handled and where they could have discussed this. But this happened totally in the background, and suddenly it felt like the guy's been left alone and nobody's caring for him. What happened was really disrespectful to me, at least looking at what he has done. I mean, he's the reason people scream and sing along ACDC songs.
Should ACDC continue to tour and record with Axl Rose as the singer?
I would be happy, if the guys in ACDC would finish this tour, think about what to do next. And, obviously, I feel Brian can get back. I mean, the creator of the in-ears, if you are aware of this, he said that they have a device that could improve Brian's hearing live. So there are many possibilities that could happen. So seeing Brian back on stage, back in the studio would be like amazing. But for me, Axl Rose is just good for this tour. And when all the 10 dates end, that's it. Stop.
Axl, no doubt, as a singer, he can hammer out the Bon Scott years, the Brian Johnson years, and let me tell you, those Brian Johnson years are difficult to sing. However,
That's right.
I don't want to see Axl on record with ACDC. It's just, I'm with you, man. I prefer somebody like Mark Storacci, and I've said this many, many times. I prefer somebody else. Saying that, I know there's many fans who want Axl to continue. Okay, Vitek, let me give you some reactions from people around the world in regards to this topic, okay? And we could comment as we go along. So we have Aki in Greece says, Axl is killer. Best choice for ACDC. We have Ricardo in Portugal. I also live in Lisbon, and I will not go. I will not support cabaret stuff. We have Asu in Portugal. I am Portuguese and live in Lisbon, and I sold my ticket as soon as I heard the dreadful news. We have Tom in USA. Here's a good one. I'd rather jump into a lion's cage wearing a hamburger suit than see them with Rose singing. We have Matthew in Canada. Angus should go get a solo album out and call it a day for ACDC. With Khalil in Scotland, I love ACDC, and this has made me very excited. And of course, in Australia, we have Dean. It's going to be great. So, I mean, there is mixed reaction. The Belgians, there's 7,000 of them who said, the purist, we'll call them, who've actually asked for a refund. But however, those 7,000 tickets went back on sale. Thoughts about what I just said?
I don't know what's going to happen. The set list looks amazing, but would he be able to execute them? Only time will tell.
Vitek, thank you for being on the show. Thank you for the commentary. We'll do it again. Editor-in-Chief, mastermind of Metal Wani, metalwani.com. Now we'll turn to Giles Lavery in Europe, who's getting feeds on the show, getting some songs, and we'll get his reaction of how Axl is doing with ACDC. All right, Giles, what's the story?
It was piss and rain. There was a lot of it looked like for a moment there like the show may not even go ahead. Fortunately it did. 15 minutes late. Axl didn't hold things up by 3 hours like all these jokers online thought he would. He came and did an extremely professional job with a broken leg, sitting down under extremely tough circumstances. The scrutiny must have been absolutely unbelievable. He did so well, indeed, that you close your eyes, this was an AC/DC gig. There was nothing wrong, there was nothing out of place. This was brilliant. The set list was exactly the same as what you saw on the Rock or Bust tour. No surprises there. Axl nailing it, absolutely freaking nailing it. An amazing show. The crowd loved it. Don't believe this, 5 million people wanting refunds, whatever. Didn't happen. Sold out. Massive show. Looking at the crowd, not a disappointed person there. The band sounded great. Hell's Bell's got to be my favorite song. Axl just really excels on the Back in Black material. His voice is closer to Brian than Bon, but I mean something about that Back in Black stuff just really sits in his range so well. Really good show. Fantastic. There'll be plenty of footage. Check it out for yourself. Love it. Well done, Axl. Well done, AC/DC.
Man, I was super impressed. Axl pulled off a phenomenal set. A great job. It's tough. These are tough songs to do. Singing Brian Johnson material is very difficult.
I think this is going to shut a lot of people up. Put a lot of things in perspective as well. I think Axl did extremely well considering he was sitting down, still got the busted leg. I'd like to see these guys record. Think about this. Appetite for Destruction, Back in Black, two of the most revered, successful records of all time. Bottom line, I can't recall a more exciting, anticipated event in the world of rock than this.
Well, there you have it. Thanks, Giles, for the report from Europe in regards to Axl and AC/DC in Lisbon, Portugal. And again, special thanks to Vitek from Metal Wani, editor-in-chief. That's metalwani.com, and catch you next time on The Metal Voice.